I'm more than excited to be doing this today as I find myself to be privileged to be armed with this information about credit bureau. So I have been with the credit bureau for the past 18 plus years and still counting. In Ghana, there are three credit bureaus here. They are Dun& Bradstreet Credit Bureau, XDS Ghana, and Hudson Price. All these credit bureaus provide solutions around credit risk mitigation for banks. So what we do is to help banks to avoid or mitigate credit risk in lending. So our main objective or our main goal as a company or as credit bureaus is to help or promote credit information sharing among the financial institutions. We are mainly regulated by Bank of Ghana, and our operations and our permissible activities are clearly outlined by Bank of Ghana. Our relationship with the licensed financial institutions or licensed banks are mandatorily required, meaning banks are mandatorily required to send information on the loan you took from them to us, and also mandatorily required to read on you on our portals, our web portals or our API portals, on how well you have fared with your current or closed loans, so they can make decisions on either the interest rate to give, the amount to disburse to you, the scheduled frequency they should give, and your affordability. All these things, among others, are things that a credit information report would help a bank to identify. Why should this be of much interest to you? This should be of much interest to you because with what I've said in the past minute, it means that for you to safeguard your reputational collateral, you have to protect how you service the loans that you have access to. And I mean, even the digital loans, the mobile loans. The mobile loans you have access to are not owned by the telcos, but rather they are just on the portals of the telcos because they are also going to serve as collaterals. That is why when you apply for a loan and you don't make payments, just when there is a payment in your mobile money or there's a transfer, maybe you have a gift from somebody, that amount is deducted. Should they just do an app? Then use other ways to actually take their money should you be a very high risk borrower. So these products you see on the mobile loans are actually owned by banks. And hence, as I've said earlier, they are mandated to send the information to us credit bureaus so we can provide services to them. Now, the question is, what is still in this for me? For you is that, as I mentioned the word reputational collateral. Your reputational collateral does not just help you secure a loan that you feel you don't need now, but it helps you even in that reputational business or company that you want to work with. Because there are companies here that check on your credit behavior before they employ you, mainly when they want to put you at very vantage point or vantage positions where you'll be making decisions. You might not have access to investors because of how you fared with a 200 Ghana cedi or even a 100 Ghana cedi. I know we are in hard times, and it's very, very tempting for you to firstly think about accessing a 1,000 Ghana cedi from a quick loan or a home loan or a feeder loan or an Nkosor loan or Vodafone Red loan. It's the first thing you think about because you actually, before today, might not know how it really works. But then I am here to tell you that these things affect your reputational collateral. And I want you to protect your reputational collateral because I believe that in times where you need that brilliant business idea to be invested in or to be financed, you might lose out on it because of that 200 Ghana cedi loan you took and threw your SIM away. Remember, we now have a Ghana card, and then you have all your IDs merged to it. So a Thelmanunu is still a Thelmanunu sitting here. But there might be thousands of Thelmanunus here in Ghana. Still, we are able to identify me because now we have an identification system. So please, I am pleading with all youth to rather use this as an opportunity to work on getting a good reputational collateral. Now, the credit bureau space is moving from credit information reports, that is reading of information in paper or PDFs, is now moving to scores. So when I say scores, let's just imagine you're around and maybe the score is up to 100% and my score is at 10%. Just when I say my score is at 10%, I don't have the hearing of the next investor or the next company, my dream company, I mean. But when I say I have a 99 credit score, I now have the hearing. You get it? I don't know if this actually resonates with how you understand your credit bureau and how you really expected me to explain this to you. What I'm going to do is I would expect you to ask me more questions so I can do this in more details. Ask me questions what you've heard about, and I'm also going to bring out more information for you to know about the credit bureau space. The credit bureau space is not a scary one. It is actually something you have to, as you move, as you start working, as you even start doing your national service, make sure you're working on these things. Even when you have access to a student loan, make sure you're paying back your student loan so you can get back what? Your reputational collateral. Let me reframe this. Just because you repay the loan you were owing for the past 1 year does not mean that you have cleared your credit history. Yes, or just because you're known as an aggressive person in the last 2 years doesn't mean that you are not an aggressive person because you have been good for the past 1 year. The credit space actually clears, or your credit history actually clears after 10 years, or 7 years. I'll talk more about how it works. But for now, let's just work on having a reputational collateral. Thank you. And we'll have another educative session.